Hey guys, welcome to Cape and Cowl Cafe. I'm Nemo, and today I'm going to be ranking all of the comic book Spider-Man costumes from worst to best. If you guys enjoyed the video at any point today, I'd really appreciate if you hit that like and subscribe button, but let's just hop right into this. Okay, so I may have been exaggerating when I said all of the comic book Spider-Man costumes. There are just way too many. We'd be here all day, but I have gathered a pretty large list of some of the most notable alternate looks that Spider-Man has had throughout the years. The classic suit is on the list, but I'm only going to include it once, so I'm not going to be ranking a bunch of different iterations of the classic suit. I will tell you which one is my favorite, but it's just going to be in one spot. So let's get started. Alright, starting off the list in last place at number 36, we have Spider-Man 2211. Now, I don't know who designed this, but you can quit, okay? You can just stop working in this industry. It's okay. Go home, spend time with your family. It's fine. We'll give you a pass. This just looks so ugly. It's like they took every aspect of what makes a Spider-Man costume cool and they just perverted it and twisted it, and it looks terrible. I mean, oh! Ew! Dude! Look at the mask. He got 6 eyes on there. Ugly. He got the open mouth hole. Ugly. That should never be a thing on a Spider-Man costume. And then he got the spider legs on the back. And usually this is something that looks cool, like on the Iron Spider or the Superior Spider-Man suit. Nope, they made them just a bunch of weird, unsettling hands. Nobody likes that. That just looks so weird. And the rest of the suit is just kind of boring and lame. This is just a terrible design. Moving on. All right, next up at number 35, we have the Aaron Eichmann armor. This was actually adapted in the Spider-Man PS4 game. I don't like it. I don't like all the extra eyes on the helmet. I just don't like extra eyes, okay? I think it looks weird and unsettling, and it leans too much into the spider motif. It looks bad. This suit is just way too damn bulky. It looks like a motorcycle suit. I don't like it. Moving on. I'm just gonna zip through, most of these early ones, but I just had to talk about how ugly those last two were. But next at number 34, we have the Spider Armor Mark III. I just don't like any of the spider armors. I think they look too bulky and stupid. I don't think armor works for Spider-Man. It doesn't fit the character. He is supposed to be a very flexible, acrobatic character, flying around, zipping from here to there. Doesn't really work when he's wearing a suit of armor. This one isn't as bad as the previous two because, it doesn't have a million eyes on it, and it has the Spider-Man colors on it. It's fine. Next up at number 33, we have the Spider Armor Mark II. This one is at least a little slimmer. It kind of, matches Spider-Man's body type a bit more. I do like the black and the yellow color scheme. I feel like that can work for Spider-Man. And I do like the thinned out eyes. I love it when a Spider-Man suit has really thin eyes. It makes him look so menacing and angry. But I just don't like all the weird line work on this suit. Like the yellow lines just move everywhere throughout his body, and it looks weird, and I don't like it. All right, next up at number 31, we have the Spider Armor Mark I. Now, some people may be mad about this, but I feel like this suit should be even lower. It should be near the bottom. But the only thing that's stopping me from putting it there is nostalgia. It showed up in the 90s series, but this suit, it just looks ugly. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I can appreciate it as an alternate universe thing, but other than that, I don't think it looks that good, and I feel like the suit as a whole is really overrated. Definitely carried by nostalgia. In 31st place, we have the Superior Spider-Man Mark I. I know that some of you guys were probably worried that I was about to say Mark II, but no, this is just the first version of that Superior Spider-Man costume. This looks almost, identical to his classic suit, but just red and black. But the thing that really holds it back for me is those lenses. They just look so weird. I really don't like them. I don't like how they kind of protrude, forward off of the mask. And, the suit has claws when it really shouldn't. Claws can look really cool, like on the default Superior Spider-Man suit, but, claws on a regular classic suit just doesn't look right. And it might just be the way that it's drawn in the book, but that shade of red is really orangey. I know that's a nitpick, but it really holds it down for me. I just think that this is just a worse version of the classic suit, Like if Otto Octavius is supposed to be the Superior Spider-Man, you would think that he would actually, make a suit that looks better, which he does later with the Mark II, but this one is just, it's just bad. All right, next up at number 30, we have the Spider-Punk suit. Now, I do think that they fixed this design and Across the Spider-Verse, but my issue was always that this costume in the comics never looked punk enough, if that makes sense. Like, it just looks like the House of M suit, but with spikes on the head, a denim jacket, and Converse. You know, the base suit is actually just kind of pretty bland. It doesn't really look that good. It's not doing anything special, and I don't know, I thought this gimmick was kind of lame, honestly. Okay, next up at number 29, we have Cosmic Spider-Man, or Captain Universe Spider-Man. Now, I do like this design. I don't think it's bad, but it's this low on the list because you can't really even tell it's Spider-Man. The only thing that's letting you know that this is Spider-Man is the little sliver of red on the mask. If it wasn't there, you'd have no idea who this was. It would just be regular old Captain Universe. But I don't think that this is a terrible design. I think it's a fun, out there, you know, kind of space age design for Spider-Man. It looks pretty cool, you know, classic 90s. Honestly, the Captain Universe design always reminded me of Alien X from Ben 10, but like blue and white, I guess, because, you know, you got like stars on his body and there's like constellations there. I just think it's cool. All right, number 28 goes to the Scarlet Spider Mk III. Now, this one just, it feels naked. Like, I know that's kind of weird to say because we're talking about Spider-Man. He's technically, you know, always looking naked. He's a dude in full spandex, but this one just looks off, you know? It's like they took the design for the original Scarlet Spider, you know, the red bodysuit, blue hoodie, and they made the blue hoodie part of the bodysuit. And it really doesn't work. I don't like the belt. I think the color balancing is terrible. And if you look at the original artwork for this costume, he had a visible mouth. It was just so unsettling to look at. Nobody liked it. I just think that this costume was unnecessary. They didn't need to change the original design. Like, I guess, you know, like, I get it, they wanted to move away from the hoodies, you know, because that's very 90s, but making it part of the suit isn't going to fix the problem. Do something else. All right, next up at number 27, we have Electro-Proof Spider-Man. Now, I do have a little bit of nostalgia for this one because it is just a classic alternate look for the character. It was in pretty much every single Spider-Man game I played as a kid. But here's the thing. There are two different types of alternate Spider-Man costumes. Well, costumes for any character, really. You have cosmetic costumes, and then you have what I like to call anti-costumes. And that would just be anti-whatever villain they're fighting. You know, like in Spider-Man PS4, he has the anti-Ock suit. In Spider-Man 2, he has the anti-Venom suit. And I just don't think that that really works for a character like Spider-Man. I really like Spider-Man to be solving problems in the moment, thinking on his feet, and he has to use his intelligence to win a fight, not because he brought, you know, some prep time field suit with him that can just, you know, instantly win the battle. I think that's stupid. The only characters that really works for is Batman and Iron Man. Spider-Man should not have an anti-insert villain here suit. It doesn't really make sense, and so I just think the concept of the Electro-Proof suit is stupid. I mean, if you look at, you know, Spider-Man and Electro's first fight in the comics, he was wearing like rubber dish gloves and he won, you know? It's a little goofy, but that's still way better than having a full different costume prepared ahead of time. You know, it just feels lazy. So while the design isn't the worst, I just really hate these kinds of costumes, and they're gonna be a little bit lower on the list for me. All right, next up at number 26, we have the Big Time Spider-Man suit. Now, it may not look like it, and the name may not allude to this being the case, but this is another anti-suit. Okay, Peter Parker created this costume at Horizon Labs to specifically combat the Hobgoblin. So, you know, at least this costume's not called the anti-Hobgoblin suit or the Hobgoblin-proof suit, you know? That would be so stupid, okay? At least it has a unique name, and it kind of, you know, it can transcend its origin in that way. I don't think the design is really that bad. You know, if it was this design but just flat colors, I think I would like it more, because I don't think I'm a huge fan of the emissive lights, you know, like the LEDs. And by the way, I'm including all 4 of the color variations in this one spot. I think the green is my favorite, but, you know, it's not the best. You know, it's kind of a boring design, so sorry that it's this low. If anyone just absolutely loves this suit, my bad. In 25th place, we have the, I think it's the all-new, all-different Spider-Man 2099. I might just call it 2099 Mark II. But anyway, I really do like this design. I just think that it feels a little cluttered. There's a lot going on. I do like the color balance between the black, the red, and the white. And, you know, I feel like that this design would have been better if the white sections were blue, you know, kind of keeping that original color scheme. But other than that, you know, it's all right. I do like how they kind of kept the skull motif on the chest. I have always liked those more, you know, silhouetted eyes that they have. you know, on the 2099 suit. Like, you can't really tell if you can actually see through it. I think it's a really cool design, but it does not beat the original. All right, next up at number 24, we have Spider-Man Noir. Now, there are technically two variations of this suit. I mean, it's really just whether or not he's wearing the trench coat. And I know a lot of people prefer the trench coat. I think I like both versions equally, okay? Like, his look from Shattered Dimensions was just absolutely fire. I love the vest and, you know, like the striped pants. It's just a really cool look. And I especially love the leather, you know, kind of stitched up mask. I think it's such a interesting, you know, take on the Spider-Man design. I just love it. It's so good. But I mean, yeah, the trench coat also just looks peak, especially if he has his collar kind of flipped up. It looks so nice. Okay, next at number 23, we have the House of M Spider-Man. Now, this is kind of the part of the list where I am starting to really like the costumes that we're talking about, but with this one, I don't hate it or love it. I just find it interesting, you know? Like, there's no spider logo on it. It's just kind of like the red sections of the costume kind of form a spider and it wraps around his whole body. It doesn't have a belt. It doesn't have conventional boots. It's just a weird redesign of the classic suit, and I don't hate it. I feel like I would like it a little more if there was actually a spider logo, because it kind of feels naked without it, but at the same time, I think it's just different, and that's kind of what's cool about it, you know? I really can't make up my mind on this, but I know that I like it more than everything that I've talked about before, so. In 22nd place, we have the Last Stand Spider-Man suit. Now, while I do think that this is gritty and edgy and tough, and it looks cool, you know, the look really works for it, I also think that it's kind of boring, and the only thing that is making this costume special is the leather jacket. And I do like the jacket. I like how it's designed. You know, it's that kind of like side flap design with the buttons like going up the side. It looks cool. I just wish that, you know, there was something else going on with the suit. Maybe if he had boots, or I don't know, maybe a belt or something. I don't know. It just feels kind of bland. I feel like they could have done something else with it, but it does look cool, so it's not going to be at the bottom of the list. It's all right. I do also like the story that comes with it. Really good story. I highly recommend it. All right, next up at number 21, we have the Bombastic Bagman. Now, this design is just fun, you know. There's nothing else, you know, really to it, but I love the story that this thing comes from. You know, this is what Peter Parker wears on his way home from the Baxter Building after Reed Richards helps him get rid of the symbiote suit. So what I find so funny about this is he goes from wearing one of the most badass looking costumes in history to this, you know? He goes from the symbiote suit to wearing a bag on his head. That has got to be a very humbling experience. I just find that so funny. And it's even better when you add the kick me sign on the back, you know, the one Human Torch put there. Just, it's fun, you know. You can't hate it, but it's not really a Spider-Man suit per se, so it's going to be a little bit lower on the list. All right, next up at number 20, we have Spider-Carnage. Now, I just think the suit is just so cool. It's very raw, very 90s for sure. You know, it's a little goofy, but you know, I love that Carnage mouth there with the huge Spider-Man, you know, kind of bug eyes going on. And I also like how this design is using the Ben Reilly Sensational Spider-Man suit. You know, I don't know if this look would have worked with just the base classic Spider-Man design. I feel like it would have looked a little bare, you know, but it definitely works here. I think it's just kind of ridiculous, but that's what's fun about it. All right, coming up next at number 19, we have the Spider Armor Mark IV. Now, this is one of the only examples of spider armor that I actually enjoy. I think the thing that I like about it is it's just a basic Spider-Man costume, but it's been translated into that armor-like look, you know? And it has very subtle emissive lighting with the suit, you know, with the eyes and then, you know, kind of around the symbol on the chest. And sometimes it's drawn to be a light blue, sometimes it looks green, and I honestly don't mind it, you know? It doesn't really look that bad, and this suit looks really good in the Spider-Man PS4 game, but the major change that I see with this suit is the boots, you know, because the boots kind of, you know, shift off to the side there and then go up his shins a little bit more, so they feel longer than your typical Spider-Man costume boot, and I don't know, I think it's a really good change. And you know, this suit makes sense at the time. Like, it's not an anti-suit or anything. Like, he didn't design it to fight a specific, you know, villain. He designed it because he was currently the head of Parker Industries, and he had way more resources than he normally does. So naturally he would create something like this. I don't think it's that bad. I actually like it a lot. All right, next up on the list at number 18, we have the Scarlet Spider II, or, the suit worn by Kane Parker. Now, as you'll come to find later in this list, I really like black and red Spider-Man costumes. It just activates something in my brain. I can't explain it, I just really like it. However, there is just too much red on this costume. There is nothing to break up all that red, and the top half of the costume actually looks really good. Like, it's almost perfect. I like the red eyes, I like, the black mask with the shoulders, but then the rest of the design, you lose me, There's just too much red. You gotta have something there to break up all that color. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. All right, next up at number 17, we have the Future Foundation suit. Now, I feel like you gotta be really careful when you're creating a white and black design for Spider-Man, because you can end up with things like this, and this doesn't work. This is ugly. We don't like this. But the Future Foundation suit, it really nails the color scheme. I like the black eyes. I really like how the symbol stretches out throughout the shoulders. You have those black sections running down the torso and the legs, and it really just breaks up the white nicely. It's just a perfect design. And I also like the inverted version of this, where it's black and white instead of white and black. Both of them are just so peak. Also, this is just a side note, but I love, and I just think it's so funny how most alternate Spider-Man costumes don't have webbing on them. And it's obvious that they were just designed so the artist could have a break from drawing every single web line. I just think that's such a funny detail. Like, I just went back and counted, and 21 of the suits on this list don't have web lines. It's just so funny. All right, 16th place goes to the Alex Ross red and black Spider-Man costume. Now, there is just something so striking about this design. It just looks so good. Like, every time I look at this, I can't help but think of The Incredibles, and it's because the symbol looks like the letter I. But actually, hang on. Now that I'm looking at this is just an inverted version of the Scarlet Spider II suit. You have the red on the top and the black on the bottom. And it works way better here because you can have a suit that's all black and you don't have to break it up at all. Black is just, it's that color. It just works. I really like this suit. I think my favorite thing about it has to be the exposed web shooters, and they're red instead of silver. I think that is so cool. We don't see that often. And he's also got the hand patches there. I don't think I've ever seen a design that has both. It really works. I love this. And honestly, I am so surprised that this isn't the design they went with for the Tobey Maguire movies, because at the time, every single superhero costume was black leather. You had the X-Men, you had Blade. So I don't know why they didn't go with this. It really just matches that design philosophy a lot more. And honestly, if they went with this, I wouldn't mind, This is tough. All right, next up at number 15, we have Spider-Man 2099. Now, there are a lot of different versions of this look. There are some that are black, some that are blue, dark blue, shiny blue. There's all different kinds. But I think that the base design really just kind of stands out, and it makes you, look at it and go whoa, that's different, And this may be carried by nostalgia quite a bit, This was in a lot of Spider-Man games, that I played as a kid, especially Shattered Dimensions and, Edge of Time. But I really do think that this is just such a good design, and it's so simplistic, and that really works in its favor. This suit just has a lot of personality, it looks like a luchador that's also Spider-Man, And I guess that could be a nod to Spider-Man's history as a wrestler, but I don't think that was part of his origin when this was designed. So I think that this is just a thing that's unique to Miguel O'Hara. And I really like it, okay? I'm not gonna have a ton to say on a lot of these costumes because there are a lot of suits on this list, and I really gotta just get through these, but I really like this one. Okay, next at 14, we have Assassin Spider-Man. Now, this one is actually pretty much the same as the Alex Ross suit, but it has guns, And for an alternate universe Spider-Man, that's pretty sick, okay? I believe this is the Spider-Man that was trained by Wolverine. So he's got super thin black eyes, looks super menacing, and then he's got guns for web shooters, and the rest of the design is pretty much the same, but he's got some pouches and he's got a belt, so naturally this was going to be pretty close to the Alex Ross suit. I really like it. Okay, next up at number 13, we have Bruce Banner Spider-Man. I think that this design is just so unique, and honestly, I am a sucker for purple on superhero costumes. Like, one of my favorite Batman designs is the Rebirth suit that has purple on the inside of the cape. I just think that it's always a good idea to use purple when you're, creating an alternate look. It's just so cool. This one, I really like the combination of purple, black, and red, and I like how it's kind of just the classic Spider-Man design. Like, the layout is pretty much the same, but the front of the torso kind of drops down into a triangle, there at the bottom. Instead of, kind of forming a belt, it just kind of stops. But he does have a utility belt, which, I think works for a super intelligent Spider-Man like this. It's Bruce Banner, but I don't know. I just really like the color combination. I think it's super unique. Such a cool design. All right, next up at number 12, we have the original Iron Spider suit. Not this MCU garbage. Get this out of here. I am never upset when I see this suit in anything. It's always a welcome inclusion. It's just one of those classic alternate costumes. Like, it's just a mainstay. It looks so good, And the thing that I like about it is it's a Spider-Man armor, but it looks like it's made out of fabric. It's flexible. It works for the character, and it fits, And I especially loved seeing this costume in the Civil War story. That artwork made it look so good. All right, next up at number 11, we have Ricochet. Now, this is one of the alternate identities that Spider-Man created when he was on the run. Now, for this one, I really feel like it depends on, the art that you're looking at. Like, in some places, this suit looks terrible. Like, in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 video game, it looks like garbage. But, in pieces of comic book art like this, it just looks so beautiful. I can't explain it. It's probably one of the most 90s things on this list, but it really just works for me. You got the leather jacket with the gold medallions going down the arms. Such a wild choice. You got the white and the blue bodysuit with the huge R logo on it, but I think the thing that really makes it stand out is the mask. Now, this mask has the exposed hair. Now, usually, I despise that, artistic choice. I like it on Wally West Flash, hate it on Spider-Man. But I think because his hair is white, it kind of works, But that also makes me question, like, is he wearing a wig? Is he dyeing his hair? I don't care. I know it's technically not a Spider-Man costume, but I enjoy this design so much that I just had to include it somewhere on this list. All right, breaking into the top 10, we got the, I'm just gonna call it the Widow suit. I don't know what it's really called. In the Spider-Man game, it's called the Dark suit, but I don't really like that interpretation of it. Plus, this suit really makes you think of Black Widow. Like, it's Spider-Man if he was mixed with Black Widow. He's got the hourglass symbols on his hands. It's black and red. It makes sense. But anyway, again, this suit is black and red, so of course I'm gonna love it. I'm super biased towards that color scheme, but I first saw this costume design in the Spider-Man Deadpool crossover comic, and Spider-Man was super pissed off, at this point in the story because Deadpool had just killed him twice and then brought him back to life. Long story. I just really like how menacing this design makes Spider-Man look. Especially with those thinned out, angry eyes. It just really works. Okay, next up at number 9, we have Spider-Man Unlimited. Now, I really feel like I shouldn't like this suit. It's over-designed. There's stuff going on everywhere. It's got a weird-ass symbol. It's got a cape. There's something about this suit that just looks so good. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the shading on the face, so, it looks like he has a black circle on his face, but I don't think that that's what it's supposed to be. I just think it's the way it's shaded, but I don't know. I just really love this design. It doesn't have any webbing, but there's a lot going on with the color balancing that you don't really even need something like that. I think the show was terrible. It was just an obvious, attempt to recreate Batman Beyond, but I gotta say, they made a banger suit, okay? I can't deny it. Okay, coming in 8th place, we have the classic Scarlet Spider costume. Now, I know what I said earlier about the Scarlet Spider II, where there's just too much red and nothing to break it up. I would feel that way about this suit, but the hoodie really does a lot for the design. I especially love the diagonal logo on there. It just looks super cool. Very 90s, but there are things to break up the red. He's got a little belt there. He's got the over the wrist, like the exposed web shooters. I really like this design for the web shooters. And he's also got some pouches attached to his ankles. So very small details, but they do break up the red in a way where it's not too much. It's almost there, like it's just teetering on the line. I'm definitely a little biased for this, you know, nostalgia is definitely coloring my view of this suit. I don't know, it's just so cool, you know? Like, this was always kind of seen as the cool Spider-Man, you know? In the 90s, they wanted to retire Peter Parker and create a new character because, you know, they wanted to stay kind of relevant with the kids, and they're like, let's make a Spider-Man who looks like he's a skater. Let's make him edgy. So they threw on a hoodie and called it a day, I guess. But it really works. It does look cool. All right, now, I know what I said earlier about only including one classic suit on this list, but I feel like this one really is its own thing. And at number 7, I have the Amazing Fantasy 15 suit. This was the first appearance of Spider-Man, and it really is its own thing. Okay, first off, it's red and black, not red and blue. The eyes are different, the logos are different, and the back spider is actually blue, kind of. Steve Ditko decided to change it, like, halfway through one of the issues. Whatever. I do feel like it's a different costume. All right, next up at number 6, we have yet another black and red design. Shocker, I know. I am super biased. They're just so cool. But next up, we got the Superior Spider-Man Mark II suit. This one, it just hits different. You know, it's based off of that Alex Ross design where you got red on the top, you got black on the bottom, you got the black lenses, but, you know, this one adds some things that really, it just does something for the character. You know, you got that big logo wrapping around the shoulders. That looks awesome. You have the super, you know, kind of bulky exposed web shooters. They almost look like gauntlets, and they have that, like, you know, that kind of red thing on the top. It really looks nice. And I just really like the black lenses. This suit has claws. That really works for a design like this. It just looks so menacing and dark, and I love it. All right, next up at number 5, we have the Sensational Spider-Man costume. This was the one worn by Ben Reilly. And honestly, I don't know why this costume doesn't get more recognition. It definitely used to, like a lot more, but this costume was not included in either of the Insomniac Spider-Man games. That's just pure lunacy, if you ask me. I mean, I know that a lot of people consider this to be the Spider-Girl design. They're really the same thing, you know, but this design just looks so good. I love how they take the formatting for the classic red and blue and they just switch it up a bit. It has unconventional boots, you know, you kind of have a red and blue stripe going down the legs there. You got the exposed web shooters. Some of the fingers are different colors, that's interesting. And I mean, everyone loves the huge spider logo wrapping around the body and the shoulders. It's just such a welcome change. I love this costume so much. All right, next up at number 4, we have the Miles Morales Spider-Man design. And what can I say about this suit that hasn't already been said? It just looks cool. It's modern. You know, it has the perfect balance of red and black. And honestly, I think having the webbing on just the top part of the suit was a really good choice. You know, I feel like it would have been a little overwhelming if the webbing was everywhere. So this suit just has such good color balancing. Like, it's simplistic and that really works for it. I don't know what else to say about it. Like, we all love this suit, and I think we all know why. It's just perfect. Okay, you know what? Actually, I changed my mind. I mean, Miles Morales is still in, you know, the spot that it's in, but I want to move something up because this whole time I've been thinking about how much I love that Alex Ross design. So the new number 4 is actually going to the Alex Ross suit for the reasons that I explained earlier. I just love it so much. I couldn't stop thinking about it while I was recording this video. I think I'm in love with it. It's that beautiful. All right, cracking the top 3, we have the Fantastic Four Spider-Man suit. Now, there are technically 2 different variations of this, maybe a few more, you know. You have ones where he's wearing a blue mask. I like that one, it's not bad, but I really love the variations where he's wearing a black mask. I think that that is one of the coolest Spider-Man designs ever, and honestly, I wouldn't mind if that was one of his base designs, you know? Like, if they had the Fantastic Four Spider-Man suit and then he just had a spider logo instead of the number 4, honestly, I would just accept that as a base Spider-Man suit. It just looks that good. And I especially love the way that Marco Cicchetto draws it. So good. Like, in this panel right here, this is probably one of the best Spider-Man designs I have ever seen. It's just so simplistic and it just, I don't know, it really works for me. I love it so much. It just has the striking silhouette of the black suit while also having a splash of color, giving it the, you know, little bit of personality that it needs. It just works on so many levels. All right, you've probably deduced by now that first and second place, you know, is going to be between the classic suit and the classic black suit. And I don't know if I can decide. Okay, they are just both so perfect. And we all know why they're so good, okay? The classic suit, it's classic for a reason. It's probably one of the best formatted costumes for a superhero ever. The design just really works. And the black suit, it is probably the most famous alternate look for a character ever, you know? No one's gonna be upset to see Spider-Man show up in this costume, okay? I don't think anybody hates this costume. They may hate, you know, specific interpretations of it, but everyone loves this design. So right now, in this moment, I feel like I like the black suit more. So right now, I am going to give that one first place. But tomorrow, I may wake up and I might like the red and blue more. I really just think it depends. It flip-flops all the time. But right now, I think the black one's better. Alright, that's going to be about it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it all, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button and comment down below your favorite comic book Spider-Man costume. I want to talk about it with you guys, and I know I probably missed a bunch of them, so if I missed your favorite, let me know. But yeah, until next time, I'll see you guys later.